on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
Tonight, fighting the system. Joint opposition protest in Hambantota over the government's policy and are met with tear gas and water cannons. No consent. Former CBSL governor accepts that Monetary Board had not sanctioned cancellation of direct placement method. More land for cultivation. President warns that uncultivated land owned by the private sector runs the risk of being taken over. Not letting down. Cyclone season in Northern America continues as Tropical Storm Nate kills at least 22 people in Central America. And in sports, a new ball in play. Sri Lanka takes on Pakistan with a pink ball for the second test in the UAE. Good evening to all our viewers across Sri Lanka and around the world. This is First at 9. I'm Mahesh Johnny. We begin in Hambantota, where a protest is making headlines across the nation tonight. Police used tear gas and water cannons on the protest organised by the joint opposition in Hambantota today. The protesters demonstrated against vesting the ownership of government property, including the Mattala International Airport, in foreign countries. The police resorted to the measures when protesters attempted to enter the Indian consulates situated in Hambantota. A clash erupted between police and protesters, leading to the arrest of 26 protesters.
The joint opposition commenced the protest near the Hambantota Beach Park against vesting the ownership of state property in foreign countries at around 10:30 this morning. The Hambantota Magistrates Court, however, had issued an injunction order against the protest yesterday after police produced relevant facts before court. The protest march made its way to the Indian consulate in Hambantota.
මේ රටේ වටිනා රාජ්‍ය සේම්පල දෙම්පත් නැවැත්වීම සඳහා අපට කරන්න පුළුවන් සියලු උත්සාහයන් අපි දරනවා. නාගට පරම්පරාවට දෙන ජාතික සම්පත් ගොඩනගපු රට.
The national property of this country are sold to other countries. We insist that the government stop selling Mattala Airport to buy ships from foreign countries. We will not stop until this government, which sells national assets, is overturned.
Although police had placed barriers at the entrance of the Indian consulate, 5 protesters, including Venerable Baddegama Samita Thera, got the opportunity to meet officials of the consulate. While the discussion got underway, the protest too showed no signs of abating. The protesters were briefed on the content of the discussion following the talks.
We handed over our request to the consulate as a petition. We promised to inform the Indian government today itself about this protest.
Although the protesters dispersed after a while, police used tear gas and discharged water cannons on a group of protesters who attempted to march towards the Indian consulate, breaching the barriers. Police arrested 26 people, including women involved in the clash. Several motorcycles were also taken into the custody. They were later produced before the Hambantota Magistrates Court. The clash left 4 police officers and 5 protesters injured, and they are currently receiving treatment at the Hambantota General Hospital. In the meantime, members of the joint opposition voiced views on the arrest of the protesters.
අපි ඉතාම විනයගරුකව
We engaged in the protest peacefully according to the court order under the provisions of the Constitution. However, the protesters who were dispersing had to face tear gas and water cannons.
Several other politicians also expressed views about the protest.
We know aircraft don't land in this airport. Now an investor is being sought so it can function. They protest, claiming that this is being sold. We will not allow the sale of any state property as long as we're here. Leaders who engage in protests flee while common people are arrested. I still don't have a clear view as to with whom we will partner with regards to the Mattala airport. But I know for sure that in anything we do, the agreement between the parties will be a joint venture with the government.
Former Governor of the Central Bank, Arjuna Mahendran, today at the Presidential Commission probing the controversial bond issuance, accepted the fact that although he decided to cancel the direct placement method, he did not have the official acceptance of the Monetary Board. He made the acceptance in response to questions raised by a member of the Commission, Justice Prasanna Jayawardena.
Former Governor of the Central Bank, Arjuna Mahendran, testified before the Commission today, and while leading evidence, Senior State Counsel Shahida Bari, representing the Attorney General's Department, stated that according to the Monetary Law Act of Sri Lanka, the Minister in charge of the Central Bank does not have legal provisions to intervene and advise in policy decision-making. She further stated that the relevant minutes of the Monetary Board prove that he did not decide to cancel direct placement, which is a method of bond issuance. At that moment, former Governor Mahendran insisted that he took the decision to cancel the direct placement method after consulting several relevant parties. Commission member Justice Prasanna Jayawardena, however, extensively questioned the witness on the matter, and responding to questions, Mahendran accepted that although he decided to cancel the direct placement method, the Monetary Board had not given its consent.
President Maithripala Sirisena stresses that bare land owned by the private sector runs the risk of being taken over and being given to farmers for cultivation. Launching the National Food Production Battle at Kakirawa in Anuradhapura today, the head of state revealed that the government will also remove import duty on all equipment related to agri-technology in a bid to make the National Food Production Battle a success. He went on to warn that a gazette could be issued to ensure the cultivation of bare land.
The National Food Production Programme was hampered in face of varying climatic conditions recently. With that in mind, the National Food Production Battle was launched, aiming to revive the country's agrarian sector. The inaugural ceremony to mark its launch was held in Kakirawa in Anuradhapura today, under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena.
All government land should be cultivated under this program. No institution or department can escape reasoning that they are not involved in the agricultural sector. Also, uncultivated paddy fields, land owned by companies and land owned by the private sector have no excuse. Their bare land too should definitely be cultivated. If they are not cultivated, with the use of powers under the Agrarian Service Act, we will have to hand over the land owned by the private sector to farmers who cultivate. We will not hesitate in doing so. If these rules are not enough, we will have to gazette the cultivation of all the land that are uncultivated under the Public Security Ordinance. No one will be able to escape. We will remove taxes on all imported agri-technology equipment to succeed in this food production battle.
Also in local news, Professor Venerable Induragare Dharmaratna Thera stresses that the chief prelates are misled when they were briefed on the Constitution. He made this assertion at an event held in Colombo today with the participation of artists and intellectuals.
The event held at the New Town Hall, Colombo, was organised by the Free Art Guild to identify the responsibilities of the artists. The event was chaired by senior artist Rohana Beddege.
They obtained statements from chief prelates in their favour under various guises. That is their game plan. There will be no place for Buddhism if the country is divided into pieces. They've read many policy declarations within the past 2 years. It is ridiculous. Within a period of 2 years and 8 months, every citizen in this country is indebted by 126,000 rupees due to this government's conduct. What I have to say against people who take war heroes before war tribunals is that even LTTE attacks are not enough for them.
Chairman of the Government Nursing Officers Association, Saman Ratnapriya, criticizes the conduct of medical students over their behaviour when the new chairman of the Sri Lanka Medical Council assumed duties. He made his thoughts clear about the matter at a media briefing held in Colombo today.
If they say that Professor Colvin Gunaratne is in favour of Saitam, are they requesting that someone who is against Saitam be appointed? A member of the joint opposition criticised that Colvin Gunaratne was in the national list of the United National Party. It is an utter lie. Colvin Gunaratne is in 15th position in the national list of the UPFA. When Professor Colvin tried to leave after assuming duties, the students hooted. It's very clear that their behaviour doesn't suit professionals.
The Assistant Secretary of the Government Medical Officers Association reacted to the comments made by the chairman of the GNOA.
The Medical Council is for doctors and not for nurses. It is better if he minds his own business. Even his convenings are not warranted. Ask Saman Ratnapriya to take a good look at himself.
Two intervening petitions were filed at the Supreme Court today requesting the rejection of the fundamental rights petition filed by the former Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva. One of the petitions was filed by TNA parliamentarian M.A. Sumanthiran.
Intervention petitions were filed at the Supreme Court today requesting the rejection of the fundamental rights petition filed by former Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva. The former Chief Justice in his petition says the way the Provincial Council Elections Amendment Bill was passed in Parliament is illegal. SLFP organizer of the Colombo District, Attorney at Law Rajika Kodituakku filed one of the petitions. In the meantime, a fundamental rights petition was filed at the Supreme Court requesting an order to be issued to the Election Commission to hold elections in the North Central, Sabaragamuwa and Eastern Provincial Councils. The petition was filed by parliamentarian Udega Manpila, and the Speaker of the Parliament, Attorney General and the Chairman of the Election Commission are named as respondents. Cinnamon Gardens Police today informed court that the person who attempted to forcefully enter the house of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa along the Vijayarama Road in Colombo with a knife suffers from a mental illness. Cinnamon Gardens Police arrested the suspect on the 21st of September. When the case was taken up, police said the suspect had previously sought medical treatment for mental illness. Furthermore, the police requested the court issue an order for the suspect's admission to psychiatric hospital, enabling resident treatment. Accepting the request, the court remanded the suspect until the 19th.
Well, the modern teacher shoulders the role of moulding a talented and wholesome future generation endowed with both skills and virtues. UNESCO has named the 5th of October as International Teachers' Day to commemorate their unparalleled service, an event celebrated here in Sri Lanka on the 6th of October.
Celebrated annually on the 5th of October since 1994, World Teachers' Day commemorates the anniversary of the signing of the 1996 UNESCO ILO recommendation concerning the status of teachers. The recommendation constitutes the main reference framework for addressing teachers' rights and responsibilities on a global scale. World Teachers' Day 2017 was celebrated under the theme Teaching in Freedom, Empowering Teachers. It grants teachers professional independence, freedom and the tools to deliver quality education, which must consider students' circumstances, needs and expectations. Meanwhile, today in Sri Lanka, teachers across the island were felicitated for their dedication and commitment.
The National Water Supply and Drainage Board announced a 9-hour water cut in several areas of the Kalutara district on the 10th of October. Accordingly, water supply will be suspended in Payagala, Maggona, Beruwala, Kaluwamudra, Moragolla, Aludgama, Darga Town and Benthota from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. With that, let's now take a look at some other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
An operation by wildlife officials to drive off a herd of wild elephants that had entered the Malwata settlement in Ampara last night resulted in an attack on a farmer who had been in a nearby paddy field at the time. The farmer, who succumbed to the attack, had initially been warned by the wildlife officials not to go to the area. A 27-year-old man drowned while bathing in the seas off the coast of Usangode in Ambalantota yesterday. The deceased was reportedly a resident of Ratnapura who had been on holiday. A crocodile, about 7 feet in length, was found near a house in Mahakarava in Balapitiya last night. The residents of the house notified the matter to the Ambalantota police, who captured the animal and handed it over to the Hikkadu wildlife officials.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back everyone on to international news. The international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons has won the 2017 Nobel Peace Prize as announced today by the Nobel Committee. ICAN, known as the Civil Global Organization Society group advocating arms reduction, and was hailed for its role in bringing in the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which was adopted on July 7th with the support of 122 nations.
The organization is receiving the award for its work to draw attention to the catastrophic humanitarian consequences of any use of nuclear weapons and for its groundbreaking efforts to achieve a treaty-based prohibition on such weapons.
In a backdrop of escalating nuclear tensions and fear of all-out war, anti-nuclear campaigners risk much to uphold the banner of peace. The International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, also known as ICAN, is a coalition of non-governmental organizations from around 100 different countries around the globe.
People have been accepting nuclear weapons as legitimate tools for providing security for, 70 years now. And we're trying to change the mindset, really, that it's not acceptable to threaten to level an entire city just to keep yourself secure. We don't really expect to win, of course. We're quite a young campaign still, and we have a lot of work to do before. But it's an extreme honor, of course, that people recognize the work that we do.
Also making headlines across the world, Tropical Storm Nate killed at least 22 people in Costa Rica, Nicaragua and Honduras, with its course set towards the United States. Forecasters say the storm will gain strength and become a Category 1 hurricane before it makes landfall on the southern coast of the U.S. on Sunday.
The Costa Rican Meteorological Institute reported that Nate sparked heavy downpours in the Central American region, along with landslides and floods since Wednesday, dumping up to 215 litres of rain per square metre. The government announced the suspension of work and also closed national parks and several electricity plants. Flights were disrupted at the international airport in San Jose. An advisory from the U.S. National Hurricane Center said warnings had been issued for Louisiana and Gulf Coast of U.S., with the storm expected to hit the region late tomorrow or early on Sunday as a Category 1 hurricane.
In the wake of Sunday's mass shooting in Las Vegas, the U.S. National Rifle Association has called for more regulations on bump stocks, a rapid-fire device used by the gunman in the massacre. Lawmakers, including pro-gun Republicans, plan to hold hearings and consider a bill to outlaw the device.
The U.S. National Rifle Association stated that devices designed to allow semi-automatic rifles to function like fully automatic rifles should be subject to additional regulations. The NRA, however, criticized politicians who demand gun control, stating that banning guns from law-abiding Americans will do nothing to prevent future attacks.
A train hit a bus on a crossing in the Russian region of Vladimir earlier today, killing at least 16 people. Russian media reported that the driver may have stalled the engine on the railway track after ignoring a red warning signal. The bus had been carrying 55 passengers who were migrant workers from Uzbekistan. Russia's TASS news agency reported that those who died were on board and no train passengers were injured in the incident. Russia's emergency ministry stated that the bus driver was at fault in the incident. Let's take a short commercial break. Business News is up next.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back everyone on to Business News. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, says the Central Bank is attempting to find a way to alleviate the situation of those who are suffering from debt distress. He said this addressing the district secretaries in the Northern Province. Governor Dr. Kumaraswamy is currently engaged in a two-day visit to the Northern Province to review the situation of rural-level indebtedness with stakeholders in 5 districts of the province.
Our colleagues have done an initial report which has set out the broad parameters of the problem, and that has made clear to us that this is a very serious problem which needs to be addressed. Of course, as the regulator, we have certain limitations as to what we can do. Our remit is focused on the registered financial institutions. The Central Bank will do its part, but we would also need your help, not only to tell us today what is the underlying causes of the problem, how one can address those. There are many problems in the Northern Province. We can't address all of them, but we want to make a difference as far as the most affected people are concerned. Those who are suffering from debt distress, we are trying to find a way to alleviate their situation. So that is what our focus is, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Let's take you to the stock market now. Shares rose for a 6th trade session today and closed at their highest in 9 weeks as blue chips gain. The Colombo Stock Index ended 0.34% higher at 6,529, its highest close since the 10th of August. The Bourse rose 14% for the week, recording its 4th straight weekly gain. For an in-depth look, here is Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The benchmark all-share price index gained 21.96 points, close at 6,529.05, while the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index gained 15.79 points to close at 3,797.43. The turnover was 922 million rupees, with 23 million shares changed in hands in 7,290 trades. Today's foreign purchases were 401.65 million rupees and foreign sales were 483.94 million rupees.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Other Derana 24/7.
Moving on to sports, Sri Lanka is now playing their first one-day and day and night test in the UAE, which is also the second and the final test against Pakistan. Electing to bat first, Sri Lanka is currently at 211 for 3 runs for the loss of 3 wickets.
As Lahiru Thirimana sustained a back strain, Sadira Samaravikrama was drafted into the side as a debutant for the second test against Pakistan. Samaravikrama received his test cap from former captain Hashan Tilakaratne, while the second debutant, paceman Lahiru Gamage, received his from former fast bowler Ramesh Ratnayaka. Skipper Dinesh Chandimal won the toss and elected to bat first. Opening pair Dimuth Karunaratne and Kaushal Silva built a 63-run partnership for the first wicket. Yasir Shah dismissed Kaushal Silva for 27 runs. Dimuth Karunaratne was the highest run scorer for Sri Lanka with a century under his name. Debutant Samara Wickrama scored a 35 ball 38 and was dismissed by Mohammad Amir.
Opening batsman Danushka Gunathilaka, who was suspended by Sri Lanka cricket yesterday for 6 international matches, together with a 20% fine of his annual contract fee, collected his suspension letter today from the SLC.
Danushka Gunathilaka was handed a 6-match suspension for misconduct and breach of contract during Sri Lanka's home series with India. It is effective from the 30th of September, while the opening batsman was also omitted from Sri Lanka's squad for the one-day international series against Pakistan in the UAE.
I received the letter today. I did not go through it yet, so I cannot comment about it. I suggest you all talk to the board.
On more cricket, Sri Lanka can be characterized as a cricket-mad nation. The elation with which people embrace the national team in victory is equal to the sheer disappointment and anger felt by them in defeat. Today, First at 9 explore the repercussions of this nation's obsession with cricket and its effects on other sports as well as certain elements of the society.
What is the national sport of Sri Lanka? Many of the younger generations would reply without hesitation that it is cricket. That answer, however, could not be further away from the truth. The national sport of Sri Lanka is in fact volleyball. But this obscurity and lack of recognition is not limited to the national sport. All sports across the board have become secondary and are served with a different ladle in comparison to cricket.
As a coach of a different sport, swimming, I do feel the frustrations of fellow coaches, fellow sportsmen and women who go out there and perform at a very high level for our country. I do feel the frustrations of our obsession with cricket. Swimming in the past year has had great success, some achievements for the first time in the history. Like swimming won the only medals won by Sri Lanka at Youth Commonwealth Games. Therefore, I do believe that we need the support of the media to bring that out to the general public, and the support of the general public, the Ministry of Sports and the officials, for our men and women and boys and girls who are engaged in other sports to go out in the international arena and perform well and bring glory to our country.
One of the sports where Sri Lanka has shown other than cricket in the recent past is athletics. Despite the country churning out various champions, financial backing and fame eluded athletics.
In the past, we have a great record in athletics. In Asia, even today, we have the capacity and we have the skill and ability to overcome the Asian level. But unfortunately, in the recent past, we have given up giving priority to athletics. After 2006, we haven't won a single world medal in athletics. So what has happened to us? Why can't we now concentrate at least on Asia? Because still, we have the Asian record. No one has broken the 200-meter record of Damayanti Darsha in Asia. I believe if we can give priority to the short distance athletics, definitely we can be another Jamaica in the Asian region.
It is the view of some that Sri Lanka's obsession with cricket is beginning to have a darker effect within society.
There are two aspects in our society. One is civil culture, the other one is mass culture. Always mass culture controls the civil culture. So in the mass culture, cricket is very dominant. Cricket culture, cricket clubs and cricket matches, all these becoming very crucial and very detrimental sometimes to other games and other things. Cricket has gobbled the other games that have been very popular in Sri Lanka. So therefore cricket is sometimes good master but bad servant. Cricket has become, on the other hand, a kind of conflict-oriented game. So therefore, even because of this cricket issue, there are problems in the school and maybe in clubs and maybe in selection committees. So therefore, we have to understand cricket more in a crucial way, more in a constructive way. Cricket brings not only integration, not only international reputation, but also some problems, some political underhand dealings, as well as some other class differences among schools and among the communities.
With all these things in mind, it is worth remembering that cricket is one of many sports in this country. Maybe it is high time we as a nation stopped obsessing over just one sport and looked at the bigger picture.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
First at 9's Dhammika Ekanaka reporting there. Let's now cross over to Chanela Fernando at the Other Than Weather Centre with your tomorrow's forecast.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. Starting off with your temperatures for tomorrow, they are to vary between 21 and 33 degrees Celsius. Fairly strong gusts of wind can be expected in the Hambantota district. Prevailing showery condition is expected to continue during the next few days, particularly in the southwestern part of the island along with the eastern and Uva provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, northwestern, northern and central provinces as well as Galle and Matra districts. Meanwhile, a few places in the eastern and Uva provinces may also experience thunder showers. That's it from tonight's Weather Centre. Up next is your city by city forecast.
Well, today is Friday, time for the good story of the week. Now, last year, you might remember the landslide in Samasara Mountain in Arayaka threw many lives into disarray and tragedy. Yet after 1 year of living in displacement tents, having lost all but their lives, 2 schoolgirls were able to trump the trauma, passing their Grade 5 scholarship exam with flying colours.
The high-flying challengers of adversity both study in Sumangala Primary School. Semini Vijayasuri, who obtained 185 marks, now lives in the Talgas PTA temporary camp, the 7th camp they have resided in so far. Her mother is a housewife, while her father works as a labourer. Semini aims to attend a prestigious school in Kandy to boost her secondary education. Meanwhile, Akashi Tarushika from the same school was able to score 171 marks in the scholarship examination. After the tragic accident, she and her family had to settle in the Ussapitia temporary camp. Akashi has ambitious plans of being a doctor, but all her dreams need help to become reality. It's the government's responsibility to help bring about a bright future for these little girls who never gave up on their dreams, even in the iron grip of Mother Nature's fury.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Than 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Katharina Chang will return tomorrow first at 9, so be sure to join her then. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.